one more minute. Hi, Patty. Let me know if you can hear me all right. You're my first person. Hey, perfect. Hi, Randy. Oh, yay. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, everybody. One more minute and we'll get started. I have a few things to show you today. I hope you have questions. Good. We'll just give it another minute. All right, everyone. Welcome. Thank you. It's great to be back. Welcome, everyone, to this Saturday's episode of the Dough Doctor. I am your host and baking expert, Colette Christian, and please populate the comments with your questions. I'm really happy to see you guys. I have been on location for 2 weeks, and I got back late last night, so I don't really have any questions prepared, so I'm counting on you to ask questions today. I have 1 or 2 percolating, but I need some questions. I do have a few things to show you in case we don't have a lot of questions. And then, great question, Randy. Excellent. I'm going to get to that one in a second. Anyhow, so Randy, let's start with Randy's question. How will the expected wheat shortages affect the baking world? Well, here in the United States, I'm expecting flour prices to go up, but the Biden administration, from what I've read, is already talking to growers and increasing production. Canada will have to up production as well. And as far as Europe goes, I don't know. But most of our flour here in the United States comes from North America, either the United States itself or from Canada. Grain is grown extensively in the northern United States and Canada, and then flour, and then softer flours like cake flour and half of all-purpose flour, because all-purpose flour is a blend of soft and hard wheats, spring and winter wheats, so that's why we can use it for so many things. It's that perfect medium protein content that works for so many of our baked goods, anything from a yeasted dough to a batch of cookies. So I just expect prices to go up. I would say by October, I'm expecting to pay 50 to 75 cents more for a bag of flour. So we'll just have to be smart about that, and when it goes on sale, buy it. Flour lasts 6 to 9 months, no problem, in an airtight container. So the best thing to do, we're going to have to be super mindful about storing our flour, considering there will be some shortages, and hopefully no price gouging and no hoarding, because we all know from the pandemic what a drag that is. So great. Yeah, Patty, you can stock up a little bit, absolutely. And then watch for flour at unusual sources. Let me share with you guys. I found this flour. I know it's backward. I don't know quite how to fix that yet. So, but it's from Utah, and it's from Lehigh Mills. It's an unbleached all-purpose flour with a protein content of around 11%. So it really works well, and I get it for 99 cents at the 99-cent store, which is kind of turning into the $1.29 store, but that's inflation for you. Anyway, if you see something kind of cool and you try it. I do have a chart for all the protein contents I should send that out. I'll create a post and send that out. It's information about all the flours available in basically the United States and Canada. And it's from our friends at the Fresh Loaf, and that's a great website, especially for yeasted dough and sourdough. Again, that's the Fresh Loaf. All right, so let's see. Do we have any more questions? No? Okay. Well, please throw some questions in there, or if you have any comments or you want to share. You know, I was thinking today about asking you, is there anything you want to try in like the baking, the library of baking, but you're nervous about it, you're worried about it? Put that in the chat. All right. First thing that I want to show you, do you remember a few weeks ago when I shaped croissants and froze them? Well, this morning, normally my directions go something like this. And this totally works, where if you have frozen shaped croissants in your freezer, you take them out the night before, put them on a baking tray, cover them, and thaw them overnight in the refrigerator. Well, I wanted to see if I took them out, put them on the baking tray, and let them sit at room temperature, what would happen? Well, it's been 6 hours, and these Pano Chocolat are ready to bake. So, let's say you go through all that. Maybe you take my Craftsy class, Classic Croissants, Modern Techniques, and you do this, but you forget to take them out. It takes a while, but you can do them. You can put them at room temperature and just let them go slowly and have success. So while we're chatting, I'm going to egg wash these, and I'm just looking for questions. And then Patty, I saw your comment. Yeah, so before I start egg washing, and I'm using our 5-star egg wash, I want to show you, how do you know that these Pano Chocolat, these chocolate croissants, are proofed enough? All right, so if you look, you guys can see them perfectly, I think. I think I have them in frame. They look like they should look. Like they took a breath and held it. So that's one clue. They look a little puffy. Another clue is if you gently squeeze the sides, your finger imprint stays. Now usually when I can get that my finger imprint to stay, I will give them a few more minutes proofing time, because that's a great test, but it's not a final test. So unfortunately, I wish I had kept one frozen so I could show you the difference. I promise I'll do that next. I could do them side by side. I promise I will show you next time. All right, 5-star egg wash right here. What is 5-star egg wash? I actually posted it, I think a week ago. I have to tell you, I was away filming for for Escoffier, which is where I teach full time, and I really lost track of everything, but I know the egg wash post went up, and it is 1 egg with a pinch of salt, preferably kosher, but if not, you use whatever you have or whatever you like, it doesn't matter, and then you whisk it until it's perfectly smooth, and then you strain it, and it's great. Look, it goes on just like glass. You know, that's a funny expression. It goes on really well. I don't know how it would be to paint glass on anything. and I will pop these in the oven behind me. It was a great 2 weeks on location. I was able to do a lot of filming and a lot of really beautiful baking, and it was challenging, it was exhausting, but it was so inspiring at the same time, and I'm so thrilled to be able to be back with you and get you all fired up as well. All right, see the pretty egg wash? Now I'm just gonna, and I'm organized today, I'm gonna put my mitts on. Okay, now if you're wondering what I just pulled out of the oven, I'm working on, this afternoon I want to do a focaccia painting with sunflowers. So if you hear any crackle in the background, that's my peppers. All right, let's check for questions and see if there's any questions in here. All right, oh, Patty. So Patty, you know, I asked that question, is there a baking project that you feel intimidated by? And Patty said a custard tart with like a fresh fruit tart with a beautiful creme patisserie or pastry cream or creme pat, as they call it on the Great British Baking Show. Okay, so now that one's an easy one, Patty. Well, I wouldn't say it was easy. It's all a question of timing. You can make your pâte sucrée or your dough, your tart dough, the day before, and then chill it overnight and roll it out. You could even you could space it out so it wasn't so challenging. You could make the creme patisserie the day before and chill it overnight, and then just soften it with a spatula before you spread it in the baked tart shell. This is the perfect time of year for a fresh fruit tart. Berries are exploding. So Patty, let us know what you find is the biggest challenge, because I started talking about a timeline, and then I want to know what part of the components. We have pâte sucrée, we have a custard, and we have fruit on top. What part of that feels the most challenging? And then we'll break it down. All right, let's see. So Patty's saying that when we make a fresh fruit tart, typically we put a glaze on top. And in French, it's called nappage. It has no direct, well, it does actually. It's just a coating. And what it does is it preserves the fruit, it enhances the appearance, and there's a little bit of flavor as well. The problem with a fresh fruit tart is they don't last very long. So in a bakery, they're made in the morning, and everybody hopes and prays that they'll be sold by dinner time and that there won't be any left over. And as a matter of fact, in my local Whole Foods bakery, guess what I saw? They had taken a cup like this and broken up probably day-old fresh fruit tart and sold it like a pudding, all right? Maybe not the most elegant solution. I mean, I love the fact they're not wasting, but anyhow, so all you need for that top is inexpensive store brand apricot jam cooked out with water. Now, I have a Craftsy class, French Pastry Shop Classics. It's actually been on Craftsy forever, but in that class, there's a lovely pâte sucrée, a great creme patisserie, and then I demo it all in that lovely Craftsy kitchen, and I put the glaze on top. And Craftsy's super reasonable these days. So Patty, if you don't have that class, I really recommend, that was French Pastry Shop Classics. Give it a look and then let me know, watch it, and then let me know if you have questions. Okay? All right. But the nappage, you know, next week I'll make nappage right in front of you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Because when I talk and talk and talk, yeah, it sounds great, but it's so much better when you see it. It was the apricot wash. Okay, so we'll do that next week. When we jump off the live, I'll write a note to myself so I don't forget. All right, just checking, making sure. It's so nice to see you guys. Hi, Diana. All right, awesome. Oh, one thing about our Randy's question about the Ukraine and the war and the grain. We are here in North America. We're gonna be exporting. We'll be our flour. That's what's gonna drive up the price of flour as well. We'll have to export it as well. Feed everybody. All right, but we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it, bakers, because we're strong and we're resilient. Okay, I have one more thing to show you that's super cool. All right, no questions. So look at this. So this is my focaccia from my focaccia painting. I swear, I came back, as you can tell, I came back from this shoot so inspired. Okay, so let me show you this dough. Check this out. So this is my focaccia dough. It's at a 72% hydration, so it's super hydrated. And I have to get it on a baking tray and get it ready. I have to get it, that's it. It has to go on a baking tray. So bear with me for a second, and I'm going to show you how. Put it in the chat if you'd like to try baking focaccia, or if you bake it all the time. Let me know. So this is going to be a big focaccia. This pan is like 20 years old. This is going to be a big focaccia because I tried little focaccia paintings and they were less successful. So olive oil, and then you really want to be able to see the olive oil on the pan, because otherwise the focaccia sticks, and that's a misery. And no parchment paper. I know we usually always do parchment paper, but with focaccia, then the bottom won't brown. You notice, you guys can't see it, but you can see it now. This is my spray bottle. So I have my oiled pan, shiny with olive oil, and I'm using Star. I did a little commercial, a little post about Star not too long ago. Really nice, well-priced olive oil. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my bowl scraper, and I'm going to scrape down the bowl, and I spray and I'm just going to scrape it all out, and I'm going to do it to camera so that you can see this. Okay? All right. Great. So now it's on the sheet tray. And I'm just going to, instead of using flour, I either have a little olive oil on my fingers or I spray them with water. For those of you who like to bake bread, please have a designated water bottle, and every time your dough gets sticky, you have nice hydration, and you're tempted to dip into your flour, go for water instead. Oh, great. And I've got a question, chocolate chips. So let me just show you this very cool technique called folding. And when we have a dough that's very hydrated, like our focaccia, this is what we do, all right? But I have a twist. And this twist comes from my friend Chef Gina, my bread sister, who you can follow at the Dough Ho. But I'm going to show you, as I'm folding, how to laminate this with pesto. That's right, laminate, just like we do with butter and croissants. First thing I'm going to do is just really, you could use your hands too. I just had to stir up the pesto. And certainly if you have basil in your garden, oh my God, people go wild for this focaccia. So just spread. No, I don't want to get anything dirty, anything else dirty. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and fold my dough. I'm going to pick it up on the side. Can you see that beautiful gluten? And I'm going to fold it over in thirds. And I'm going to grab my pesto, and I'm going to spread some pesto on top of that bare dough. And then I'm going to take this side. Whoops, I'm not in frame. Instagram doesn't give me a lot of room. Here we go. You guys can see this, and I fold this over. And then more pesto. I did not make this. Please don't think ill of me. It's Trader Joe's pesto. I got home at about, I don't know, it was pretty late. And then we're going to, so we did this way. Now we're going to go top. See that gluten shimmer? Isn't that so cool? Then we're going to fold that over. We're going to pesto this. Oh, by the way, I had this pesto in the freezer. Pesto freezes beautifully. But if you're going to freeze your pesto, keep the cheese out of it until you're ready to serve. Then I pick up the bottom. I fold it over. Now, no pesto there, because I don't want pesto on the bottom to burn, and I don't want pesto on the top. So I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to flip it. I did get a little bit of leakage on the pesto, but look at that. And now I'm going to let it sit for 30 minutes, and then the gluten will relax, and I'll be able to move it out into the corner a little bit. All right? So put in the comments if you enjoyed learning how to laminate pesto. Isn't that great for summer? Absolutely. And BTW, if you don't have pine nuts, or maybe they're not available, or they're super expensive, you can use almonds in pesto, you can use walnuts in pesto. You know, it's very versatile. So hold on one second. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to cover this, and I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes, and then I will just begin to stretch it in to the corners. All right, great. Let me see if I have questions. Okay, so Randy has a question. She says, I want to bake chocolate chunk cookies. What chocolate do you recommend, and how do you break it efficiently? Well, unless it's like thin, like a Hershey bar or a thin bar, you would not break it, you would chop it. And you need to be very careful when you chop chocolate with a stabilized cutting board. And I think a really great, reasonable brand, at least in my part of California, is Trader Joe's Pound Plus. But if you go to the grocery store aisle, Guittard, Guittard is an excellent brand, and they have some very nice baking bars. Their price point can be a little bit higher, but their quality is impeccable. So that would be a really good a good brand. Ghirardelli as well. What you don't want to use is, you don't want to use candy bars. You want to always buy your chocolate in the baking aisle. I did a little tutorial on that a couple months ago. I cannot stress that enough. Like my culinary students, when they do a chocolate assignment and they get their chocolate in the wrong aisle, it's a disaster. So I know this chapter and verse. In the baking aisle, Ghirardelli, Goddard, even Baker's. I mean, Baker's is a fine chocolate company. They're varieties that have a percentage, that would be also good as well. But Trader Joe's Pound Plus, if you live by Trader Joe's, and that's a really well-priced, excellent Belgian chocolate. And it's Callebaut, because Callebaut really has the market on Belgian chocolate, and they are an excellent chocolate company. They're mindful about their practices. Anyhow, that's a really great question. Do you know what's very fun to do as well? And that is, you can make chocolate chunk cookies and do like 3/4 chips and then do the rest chunk chocolate, and you get a nice texture of chocolate. Oh, I just thought of something. Hold on. I wanted to show you, this is my bin of chocolate. What you could use, oh great, I can actually show you how to chop chocolate. Put it in the comments if you can see the cutting board. Please, can you see the cutting board, or do I need to fix the camera? I have some chunk chocolate here. So, my son and daughter-in-law bought me these really beautiful, and I know they're backward, I'm sorry, I will eventually figure this out, these lovely Hawaiian, just straight up dark chocolate bars. And these I would be totally fine with chopping up for chocolate chunk cookies. You just want to watch, like, and I feel like Hershey's great, but candy bars that have a lot of other ingredients added to them, you really just want to see chocolate, cocoa butter, and maybe a little sugar on the, definitely a little sugar on the ingredient label. Okay, so this will be our last thing, and then I'll let you get back to your baking or whatever you're doing on this lovely Saturday afternoon. So can you see, can you guys let me know, can I get a thumbs up that you can see the cutting board? Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take a chef knife like this, and what you're going to want to do, I'm going to do this one first. This is a tiny piece of Pound Plus. Okay, you want to start on the corner, and you just rock the knife. You just cut, and you want to be standing straight. Your cutting board is stabilized, and you're not doing anything else. You're totally focused on chopping your chocolate. And you can see I stabilize the top part of the knife with my palm, and then I just rock it. Now, I've had this knife since I was maybe 20. It's a 6-inch Gerber. They don't make them anymore. You can use a regular chef knife, but the point is you're super focused and you are rocking the knife. And then when your piece gets kind of weird like this, then just rotate it and just keep cutting until you can't cut anymore. And it's kind of like anything else. If it looks like it's going to flip or get dangerous, just who cares if you've got a slightly bigger piece? If you're melting it, it will melt. If you're going to throw it in a chunk cookie, then somebody's going to get a nice old big piece of chocolate, and there's nothing wrong with that. So great, that's how you chop chocolate. On an angle, rock your knife, very focused, and just cut through, cut through, cut through. All right? All right, everyone, it is nearly 12:30. I will be back next week. Please bring your questions or comments or concerns. Patty, we will make nappage next week, and I'll do it live, and you know, you can ask your questions in real time, and we will get that nappage nailed. We will nail it. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next Saturday at 12 noon Pacific, right here, the Dough Doctor. Bye.